Alright, so you're going to start off and you're going to remove all the hardware on this door. You're going to remove the doorknobs and all the hinges. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use that old door that's busted or broken as a kind of a guide or a template. So I'm setting the new door down on the sawhorses. I'm going to put the new one on top of it. I'm going to line it up, mark the length, mark the width, mark where the doorknob goes, and I'm going to mark where all the hinges go. This is done so that I know that the door is going to fit in the existing opening that door came out of. This little jig right here, it's our Ryobi jig. They sell a variety of brands and styles, but I use this one. It makes cutting your hinges real easy. You're going to get nice, clean, accurate hinges every time. You just line it up on the marks that you put on there and use your router to cut out the hinges. It's way easier than using a hammer and a chisel. And what I'm doing there is I'm measuring the thickness of the hinge, because on that jig there's a couple of gauges on there that you want to set your router bit to depending on the thickness of your hinge, so that you get an accurate cut every time. And I got a horrible shot there. I'm going to go ahead and at the end of the video explain that jig a little bit more in detail. And now I'm just going to start and I'm going to route out the jigs. It's real simple, quick, fast, accurate. It's kind of hard to mess up. As long as you put it in the right spot, set it to the right depth, you're good to go. And I'm going to check the hinge area that I just cut, make sure that I like the way it looks, the way that it fits. Moving on to the next one, I'm going to repeat 2 more times. Alright, what I'm doing here, and this is a horrible angle, I should have set up the camera on the other side, but there really was no good place to put it, is I'm setting up a straight edge on the mark that I need to cut the width down of that door. I'm just going, measuring, make sure I got the correct distance. I'm going to clamp this board down, and I'm going to run a circular saw down the edge. If you do it this way, you'll get a nice, straight, accurate cut every time. Having a little difficulty with the clamp, it wasn't opening up, had to spray a little WD-40 degreaser to kind of, get it opening up on it. And there we go, clamping it down. And one thing I forgot to mention is the blue tape on the door. What I do is I will wrap the door with the blue tape in the area that I need to cut, so that I don't chip out the underside of the areas that I'm cutting. It just allows for a cleaner cut. Now I'm setting up the area that I need to drill for the doorknob. When you're doing this, get it started on the top side, and when your pilot bit punches through the underside, go ahead and finish out from the underside, so that way you don't blow out any wood on your door. It's going to give a clean finish. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line up the door where I need to cut the top of it, put a straight edge on there, and go ahead and cut away. I'm going to line the door up, make sure it's the right length, right width, and that the hinges are in the exact same location along with the doorknob. And what I'm doing now is I'm just going ahead and give it a sand over with a random orbital sander. Just take off any rough edges that may have happened, clean any spots up. Alright, as you can see, the door is painted, the door is hung, it's open and closing well. Sorry I couldn't record the hanging process, but there wasn't a good place to put the camera where it wouldn't get knocked over. There was just pets kind of coming in and out of that room. If you have any questions, go ahead, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I'll try my best to answer them. Alright, so this is that hinge jig that you saw in the video, and as you can see on here, depending on the size of your hinge that you're going to be using, there's different marks that you're going to need to, you're going to need to adjust this to. A fairly common one is the 3.5 inch, just like you see here. As you can see, fits pretty well in there, and all you're doing is just undoing this clamp right here, setting it on your door, clamping it on, and you're going to run your router through this. Now if you have a square hinge, these little corner pieces actually come out, and let's see if I can pop these out relatively easily. Boom, just like that, it comes out, and it allows you to get up in here closer. Now it won't give you a square cut, you'll still have to end up chiseling out just a slight, because just the nature of the system, but it makes it super easy. And also, depending on the thickness of your hinge, you can see here, let's see if I can get here, depending on the thickness, so you have it says a thin or a thick, and your thin ones are usually your 3.5, 4 inches hinges, and your thick ones are obviously the bigger hinges at 4.5 to 5 and up. And all you're going to do, so I have like I said, I have a 3.5 hinge. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to set my my router and set it to the depth. So eventually you're going to get all this is going to get chipped away and stuff, and because the router's eating away at it. They have some metal versions out there, they're a little more pricey or whatnot, but I really like this one. It's easy, it's simple, it gets the job done. Another thing in the video is this this doorknob drill kit. I don't know what you call it. I don't know, crossbore, I don't know. And depending on how far back your doorknob is set, has a couple of options here, a 2 3/4 or a 2 3/8. Right now it's 2 3/8, but you just kind of pinch this together and it'll slide accordingly. And then also this screws on and allows you to bore out where your striker is going to go. So, and it adjusts to different thickness of the door as well. It's pretty nice, makes it super easy. I recommend getting these or something very similar. DeWalt has some. I can't think of the other brands, but go to Home Depot, go to Menards, go to Lowe's. Any hardware store should have something like this kit right here. All right, have a good day.